Well, good afternoon, and it's wonderful to be with you. I received a phone call from Father Crispin last week inviting me to give a short reflection on our work from Liverpool Seafarers Centre. And I'm one of these people who immediately jumps in 2 feet, and I said, yes, of course, delighted. But then, having reflected, I thought to myself, what am I going to reflect on? And where I started was I was looking. I'm a believer there's not much we can do with the past. The present, yes, we live in the present, but the future, we can do something about the future. And then I started to think, and I pondered on Sunday, that's Sunday coming, the Gospel reading, which comes from Matthew. And it talks about the seed and the yeast and the kingdom. And I was thinking that falls very neatly within Liverpool Seafarers Centre and what it is that we do. The centre itself, Liverpool Seafarers Centre, is a partnership, ecumenical partnership between the Apostleship of the Sea, Liverpool, and the Mersey Mission to Seafarers. The Mersey Mission has been around in Liverpool for well over 165 years. So a mission, an outreach for seafarers has existed here for many, many years. And Liverpool, as we all know, was, and I believe is, and will be again, the gateway to the world. Liverpool is a very diverse port, handling many different cargoes coming in and out, and annually gross tonnage is increasing. So it is vital to the UK economy, and we play a very small part within that, in that we offer a hand of fellowship and a welcome to seafarers who are coming to our shores, bringing us 95% of everything that we consume on a daily basis. From that early morning cup of tea through to everything that we use during the day, whether we use public transport or our own vehicle. We need fuel, comes by sea. We need food to sustain us. Again, majority of that is coming by sea. And then, of course, we need energy. And where is that coming from? Electricity. Well, it's not so long ago that Liverpool switched from importing coal to biomass, which is wood pellet, which comes in vast quantities from North America and Canada, and is loaded onto the back of a train and goes up to Drax Power Station, where it is burnt at a high temperature to generate our electricity. So seafarers come and go on board the vessels, the merchant vessels, in and out of the port of Liverpool. But it's not just the port of Liverpool. It's the smaller ports on the northwest coast of England that we have a responsibility for: Silloth, Workington, Barrow and Glassendock. And then the port of Liverpool down to Birkenhead docks, Tranmere, or the oil terminal, and then all of the Manchester Ship Canal. So our geographical area is quite extensive. And we try, where possible, to visit all vessels, to offer, as I say, that hand of fellowship to all seafarers who are coming from all over the world. Today, majority would be coming from the Philippines, India, Indonesia, Bangladesh, China, many, many more Chinese, Russia and Ukraine, as well as European seafarers. And we are totally reliant upon their service. And we, as I say, the mission, the Liverpool Seafarers Centre, goes out every day to say thank you to them, to those men and women. Yes, there are many women on board ship today, to say thank you for what they do for us. Because without that 95% of goods and services, our country, unfortunately, will grind to a halt within about 3 weeks. So there we are, we're going out, go up the gangway. We never quite know who or what we're going to expect when we arrive. And we are well received 9 times out of 10, in that we are a distraction. We are that seed that can then, from which things can flourish. And it's that initial conversation, the shake of the hand. Well, today with COVID-19, it's not a shake of the hand. Maybe it's a touching of the fist or just a wave. And it's not being invited into the accommodation block. It might be a conversation on board deck. And of course, this time of year is perfectly acceptable. And it's good to be able to do that in the fresh air. And as I say, we are the only organisation or the only persons who may integrate, may speak to the seafarers and ask them how they are and how they're doing.
Good day to everyone. This is Second Officer of Motor Vessel Pacific Kindness. We are all Filipino crew on board this vessel. And as Filipino seafarers, COVID-19 really affects our daily lives. First, from our families in the Philippines, depending on the place where we are residing. some are really affected, especially those areas which has a higher cases of COVID-19. And for us on board, we are very thankful that during the enhanced community quarantine that was given by the Philippine government, we are stuck on board vessel. At least in one way or the other, we are still having a salary. But unfortunate for those Filipino seafarers who are on shore, battling for the COVID-19, and they don't have any means of daily income or monthly income. But for us, some of us seafarers which are already stuck more than the contract, it is also a burden now, not only for us, the Filipino crew that is on board, but of course also for the shipping management from different companies, which they are having a hard time to give relief crew for their vessels. And now thousands of Filipinos were stuck on board, and they are already finished contract. So it really affects our lives, but we are thankful that we are on board. We have our salary, but of course we hope and pray that the cases or the pandemic, the epidemic I mean, will soon end, and we all, the world will live back to its normal. That's all, and hope for the best. Thank you very much, and God bless us all.
So as I say, we go on board, we welcome the seafarer, and we have that initial conversation. And with COVID-19, the seafarer is under even more pressure, in that the vessel itself, whilst operating, is working in lockdown. By that I mean the seafarers are not allowed to come ashore anymore. They must remain on board the vessel. Whilst we can go on board, and as I say, we are made most welcome, we do keep our distance, which obviously we have to do, and we have the necessary PPE. But if the seafarers are quite relaxed, we may withdraw a little bit and not be as formal with the PPE, but keep our distance so that we can then interact with the seafarer, so that we are then seen as a friend, as we always are. But we don't want to be dressed up as someone from outer space, which I have seen images, and I have seen others who go on board dressed as such, but we don't. We do take the precaution, and we will say to the seafarer, is there anything that we can do to make your life a little more pleasant, a little more bearable? And what we now offer is a shopping service, because as I say, the seafarers themselves are not allowed to come ashore. So we will go to wherever we can acquire the goods and services from. Local supermarkets usually ticks all of the boxes with a shopping list, and then return to the vessel, and the great smile and the relief that we have just brought something that they may have need of. It can be very simple: a toothbrush, a toothpaste, a bar of soap, shaving foam, some toiletries. It doesn't matter. It's something that the seafarer needs that we just take for granted. But if you haven't got it, and it's not until you haven't got it that you then miss it, and it then becomes a bit of an issue. But before we can do any of this, we need to sort our own lives out, do we not? We need to be at one. We need to have peace within our own mind. We do. And as I say, we're a little bit like St. Paul. You remember that parable when he was resting on the fishing boat and out at sea, and there was a storm. But of course, the storm wasn't to do with the storm and the weather. It was all about the storm, the inwardly storm that we all carry. And Jesus managed to quell the storm. He said, peace, peace be with you. And what was actually happening was he was inviting us all to be peaceful. Because if we are not at peace, then we cannot carry out our duties to the best of our ability. Because if we're all in turmoil, we are just going to portray that turmoil to whoever we may meet. So we must be at peace with ourselves.
Hi, so right now we are on Spa, Germany. I'm third officer Himanshu. We are in Liverpool port. It's good to stay here. The situations are not so good because of COVID. It's better to stay on board. everybody is good, everybody is healthy, and they all want to stay on board. It's better to stay on board ships right now. It's the situations are not good, airports are not opening, the whole world is suffering, so it's better to stay on ship and enjoy this time. Thank you.
So that's just a very, very quick overview and a snapshot of what it is that we do. And I'm delighted that Father Crispin asked me just to give this very short reflection. And it is short and brief. We could go on for a couple of hours talking about the work and the situations and the stories and the encounters that we've had over the past years with seafarers and the situations which we have had to manage on their behalf. But thank you for listening. I hope you have found it of some interest. It's the Liverpool Seafarers Centre, and we're based here in Waterloo in Liverpool. And we have an outreach here. We have a centre which remains closed just at the moment. That's government regulation. We haven't yet opened it, although we could do, but there's no demand just at the moment to open it. And then we have another centre down in Eastham, where it's within the secure area of the QE2 dock, that's Queen Elizabeth dock, where seafarers can come off the ship and make use of the centre there, which is open, where seafarers can just get off the ship and relax and make use of the facilities. And just as I am now sitting in our wonderful chapel here of St Nicholas, it's the chapel of St Nicholas. St Nicholas is the patron saint of seafarers, hence the name. I wish you all well, and thank you very much indeed for listening to my short reflection. And again, thank you, Father Crispin.